Hi there. I just wanted to document a special repair. This is a little bit of an experiment. I've done things like it before. This is probably the more in-depth route I've chosen to go at any point. This is a Sunrise pickup, and they often will have their little mounting tabs cracked off, as this one has here, as you can see. What I've done is I've gone ahead and drilled a couple of small holes in this top plate. You have to be very careful to get those holes straight, because you can drill too low, go in this angle and hit the coil. Don't want to do that, you'll kill the pickup. So what I've done is I've built this little box enclosure. What I'm going to attempt to do is take some West System Marine epoxy and cast a new little bit to graft onto here. The idea is that some of the epoxy will flow into these holes for some reinforcement. So it's not just this small surface contact area providing all of the strength. So I built this little box that the pickup will slide into. I've glued these wood panels together. I've got a little filler area at the top, and then I've brushed the inside with a mold release. Just basically, I believe it's probably a silicone-based grease type stuff. That way, when I pour the epoxy in, and I'll slide this in so you can see what's going to happen. If we can, let's see if we can get some more light. So, you can see the end of the mounting flange there. So, it won't be the original shape, but I can sort of mill it down and bring it to the original shape. I will mix some of that epoxy with some lamp black, some carbon powder dust to dye it black so it looks normal. And the idea is I'll just fill it until it just covers that much depth. The trick is when I slide this in, I don't want to get that mold release on the area where it needs to be glued to. And this piece of foam will go in to hold the face of the pickup downward to the base of this little mold box here that I've made. Just so it doesn't accidentally rise up a little bit and get glue all over this top surface and possibly into these screws or anything like that. We're going to want to seal this down to the base of this box as much as possible. So yeah, I'm going to mix up some epoxy and we'll go ahead and start this process. Okay, so this has had time to set up overnight. I think it'll be cured enough to try to go ahead and pop it out. Let's see if it will come out of here. Worst case scenario, we've glued this pickup into a box, which we can always cut the wood away. It's not going to be that big of a deal, but let's go ahead Okay, things are moving. It's either breaking off or it's coming loose. I think it's coming loose as intended. Yeah, looks like it did come out of there. Okay, so we did get some seepage onto this visible surface, but we've got a lot of new material to work with, although what I'm seeing is this really shouldn't have been pushed up that close to the edge of the box, so I will have to go in for a second pass on this and add some more material. Pretty sure. Let me hold this up to a Soundhole really quick. We could make it work, but the idea is to make this symmetrical and look as factory as possible. So, but so far, I mean, it's generally successful. When I go in for the second casting, I'm going to see if I can be a little more careful too about these little bubbles and stuff before I pour the resin. And yeah, we'll just keep chipping away at this until we've got enough material to make this work. Okay, here's the result so far on the Sunrise pickup. I did get some bubbles in the black mixed epoxy, and I'm going to use some things to try to fill that to make that a little less obvious. You can definitely see the line where the plastic was broken. I always thought that these were all epoxy. They're definitely filled with epoxy. It seems like the top bit, possibly the rest of the casing, is plastic, and then it's just filled with epoxy. That's my best guess as to what's going on here. But yeah, I'm going to trace out this shape off this side and make some marks and transfer that over to this side and do some final shaping. Okay, here's where this is at so far. I'm going to try some different grits of sandpaper to get sort of a more uniform brushed look to it. And got most of these little voids and stuff filled. It's not perfect, but it's really just aiming to keep this pickup alive. It's got a lot of sentimental value, and yeah, main thing is just want to get it back functioning the way it's supposed to. So I'll need to trim up some of this bottom edge where it's a little uneven and thick in areas. I'm gonna clean some of this up on the side here, get this just a little more uniform looking. Then we'll have to drill our hole, and I'm going to make pieces out of wood blocks for the clamps that are to go on here. Not sure exactly what all I'm going to use for that. Probably some, I don't know. I'll dig through my hardware and I'll see what we can come up with. Coming along a little better. Definitely looks worse on camera than it did in person to me a moment ago, so definitely got to keep working on this texture. This epoxy still we could use some time to cure more. It's a little bit flexible, so I don't want to mess with it too much. I'm probably going to hold off on this for the rest of the day and complete the filing and finish work on this and drilling and whatnot once I'm very confident that that is 100% cured. Okay, this is the Sunrise pickup. Unfortunately, I went through a little bit of the logo, doing some final shaping and sanding on it. Got a little bit of steel wool particles to remove, but so definitely not an invisible repair. And I'm not a big fan of how the sanded brushed look is photographing. It looks decent in person, but might further refine that. But yeah, here's obviously the part that was resin casted back on there and shaped, and not a perfect fit up on these wooden pieces. In fact, I'm seeing a little hairline crack in there I need to address too. But yeah, basically these little nuts, 3mm nuts, are pressed into the wood and then reinforced with CA glue. And yeah, that's given us the ability to mount this pickup again. This pickup has a pretty decent amount of sentimental value to the owner, which is the reason that I've gone to all this trouble to fix this one instead of just replacing it. So there you have it. I'll probably work on the finish a little bit. I'm going to shave a little bit off of this so it comes to a cleaner, flatter clamp. Perhaps this one too. And that'll about wrap this piece.